Folks! My name is Rudy. You're watching Alpha Investments. Thank you for sticking with me through this long introduction. A lot of you guys, I want to answer a few Q&A questions. It's been a long time since we've done Q&A. If you want to ask some questions in the comment section, also scroll down below, and some of the top questions, whoever gets the most thumbs up and numbers there, I'll make some, I'll take the top few and I'll do a Q&A video. It's been a long time, and some of you guys have been asking me about that, but I want to address a couple small things today. Number one, Rudy, what do you think, or when do you think the rip and ship boom of people making careers of ripping and shipping is going to collapse? I think what's trying to be said here is whenever you have a situation where everybody now wants to be a Pokemon ripper and shipper to just live stream, like high schoolers and college students now, like it's like the thing. Did you see like the statistic with OnlyFans? Like 3% of women between the age of 18 and 30 have an OnlyFans account. Like, dude, that's insanely high. And of course, that's why restaurants and the Hooters and we call them restaurants, all those type of restaurants are filing bankruptcy and going under, because the chicks who are into that kind of thing and don't really care, well, they're not going to go wait tables and work in a bar anymore when they can do OnlyFans and make tons of money. But as with everything in life, when everyone does it, it gets saturated. Remember, folks, the Rudy thing. Flow of water. Water will always go to the path of least resistance. Water will always take the path of the most profit, no matter what the long-term damage is. So I do believe there will be a time when the rip and ship live streaming thing evolves. I don't agree with the concept that the rip and ship revolution is going to implode and collapse. I don't think that's going to be the case. As with everything in culture and society, it will evolve to something new. So technically, the way you think of it today with rip and shippers and Pokemon, it's mostly Pokemon. There's not a tremendous rip and ship magic market, but the Pokemon rip and ship revolution has really been surreal. I never in a million, it just reinforces you can't predict the future, because I never in a million years would have predicted we'd have a rip and ship revolution in Pokemon, where literally, if you took the sum of all the people streaming on everything from OnlyFans to Twitch to Feet Finder to YouTube, I'd be willing to bet thousands and thousands of packs are just being ripped live as they're streaming. People are just buying individual packs at premium prices and having the cards shipped. I think the volume of product being eaten by that is far greater than we all comprehend. Now, eventually, that's going to shift. Now, the question is, does that market fall apart and change and then lead to other problems? Or, this is what Rudy thinks is going to happen, eventually, maybe in 2026, 2027, 2028, when the Pokemon market returns to normal, not crashes, goes back to normal, I think that type of market's going to get really hit the hardest. There's certain categories and subcategories in the world of CCGs that when the markets have a new era or a new order or a new wave, certain categories are punched in the face the hardest. I'm not a huge fan of being punched in the face. Some of you guys have fetishes for that kind of thing, but for me, I like to avoid the hard hits. So again, Japanese Pokemon, great product, really hot, great card quality, some beautiful art and everything. Not for me. It's just outside my risk tolerance, because I've been through so many market cycles, and there are certain patterns to when we start that downtrend or when we shift. And again, in America, in the United States of America, Western culture, this part of the world, when we go through a shift or a cycle reset, the risk involved with holding whatever you have or in transit of non-English Pokemon boxes and sealed product is very, 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 very dangerous. Same thing with non-English like Pokemon. One Piece, non-English, even like non-English like Weiss and stuff. In the United States, that market is very thin. Now again, like non-English Weiss in Japan, holy smokes, like Japanese, like Weiss Schwartz, Weeb Schwartz, the Weebland, Weiss Schwartz. Bro, it is insane in the Japanese, Japan, Asian continents of the world. It is an unbelievably wild market. It's massive, it's money, it's huge, it's crazy. And I'm happy for them. It should be. That's great. But understand, folks, I think what's going to end up happening, and I'm going to go to another question in a second. What I think is going to end up happening is when we have the next tide shift, and I don't think it's going to be this year. I think the Destin Rivals is going to be a monster success. I don't know what's coming after that. Maybe we get a few random restocks in between supplementary products, but I don't think we're going to see a slowdown or a stabilization in Pokemon until 2026 or 2027. If we're lucky, 2028. But it is coming within the next couple of years. Most likely what's going to happen is 10,000 people are streamers and rip and shippers. I'd say the top 1% survive. The other 99% get wiped out, go to zero, and they're going to notice people just stop spending. And of course, if products stop rising in price and products come out and they're normal and products are in stock everywhere and they're in stock at the Pokemon Center at manufactured suggested retail penis, MSR penis, when that comes back in the line and everything, I do think you're going to see a huge downward pressure on the rip and ship industry. It is a very hot, it kind of reminds me of like the gig industry. Like in 2020 COVID thing where we all had to put the spacesuits on and the helmets and everything. And I had to clean my Magic cards with bleach and everything. In that era, like it was the gig economy. Everybody was doing all these gigs and side hustles and work from home and remote this. And it reminds me of that. And then eventually, as the human society shifted out of the spacesuit era of if you go in contact with other humans, male or female, that everybody just dies. As we progressed out of that, you notice that the economies of gigs and all these extra jobs and work from home, everything just fell apart. So I know it's kind of extreme, not the greatest alignment for examples, but I do think that's going to be what's going to cause the tipping point for Pokemon. Let me go to another question. So to summarize that first question, I don't think the rip and ship thing falls apart. I think it's going to evolve to something new, maybe just more regular videos, maybe different type of LGSs, maybe the businesses evolve. But I think it's going to be tipped over by a market correction and a market change because there's going to be a point when products do come back in stock and new releases are back to normal and the Pokemon Center does have them in stock and people aren't going to be able to sell individual packs on live streams for maybe $7, $8, $9, $10 a pack or whatever the set is they're doing. I just think those days are going to be very limited and that's going to erase the margins, erase the demand, and if it's in stock everywhere, no one's going to care again. I think that's what's going to happen. Let's go to a question number 2 here. This is related to Magic the Gathering and actually Flesh and Blood and just kind of new startups as a whole. And essentially, this is a long-term patron. He asked me, how do I word this? He asked me, Rudy, with all these new card games, there's a lot of new ones coming again. How is that going to impact Magic in like the Flesh and Blood situation? Okay, I think what this person means is historically in the last 5+ years, Flesh and Blood has had a lot of ups and downs as the company evolved. They changed the direction of their booster boxes, the first and unlimited, Fab 2.0, and now they're tight on their 2.0 box. They've had a lot of adjustments and tweaking over the years. No matter how you feel about it, the game is doing really well. The market's very, very happy. Prices are going up. People are happy. There's always going to be that 1% online that's going to be screeching about prices and game pieces and reprints. And historically, those are the customers that spend the least amount of money. And as I like to call them, those are your market noise. When that type of person stops yelling on the internet, you know you've overprinted and you know you're in trouble. So Flesh and Blood continues to do very well. There is a correlation between things like Magic and Flesh and Blood and different card games. When Magic booms and Pokemon booms, it tends to absorb a lot of the money in the CCG world. When another card game collapses or does bad, people in those card games that are not around, they don't just leave the card world. They tend to get relocated to other card games. They kind of rebalance. They kind of go to other categories. Now, with the next wave of all these new card games, there's a lot of them. I think I wrote on a list, I counted like 17 new card games that have either just come out or are coming out within a year. I mean, just tons of these things. Now, the odds are, if we have 20 more card games coming to market, honestly, if 2 of the 20, 10% make it long term, I'd be impressed. Because it's nothing to do with the company, the people, or their love or passion. It's just the market. You're chopping up the piece of pie. It's what we talk about with Pokemon. Everybody's upset because their allocations are lower and lower. I'm in the same boat. I can't get 4,000 boxes of Pokemon at release. I'm cut less than half of that now because, again, the piece of the pie gets skinnier. Everybody gets a thinner piece of pizza. It's not, you can't give 20 stores 0 boxes. So what happens is every store gets 1 case, and then those cases get moved from people who usually get more. It just gets thinner and thinner. It is what it is. But yes, as we see more things come to market, if a new card game comes to market next year, and it goes on Kickstarter and raises $10 million, yes, there's a very good chance that money that's chasing that is going to come from existing card games and put downward pressure on other categories. Now, it's usually very short term, so understand that. When you have something new come to market, historically, most new card games, they come out of the gate super hot. But then, as we call it, the curse of set 2 and set 3. Once the game is real hot, historically, management does the classic thing. We got to raise print runs! And then, of course, they realize it's probably not as big as you think, and the demand of, we could just sell this, distribution, we need as many boxes as you can get! All of a sudden, they ramp up print run, this set 2 and set 3 comes out, print runs are too high, we got a tipping point, market starts to droop, sag, starts to create bearishness. You see the existing products that were doing good start to come down in price. People get skeptical on the new product, and the wheel in the sky starts to crack, and now you have a downward momentum and you're in trouble. So you have 2 choices. You can have these new card games either A, slam their print run low to show they're serious, which most of them won't because it's a revenue generator, and most of them will continue the slippery slope. You have to get in front of it. So then once you misstep as a new card game, unfortunately, then you have to be overly more aggressive to stop that downward momentum. It's better to play it safe, be very gentle with it, let the game move, and let people online, I can't get the product. How is it supposed to survive if I can't get it? Those type of voices are reassurances that people like your product and that they demand it, they have a passion for it, and it also is a reassurance that you're doing the right thing. Remember, the people who spend the time blasting negativity on the internet, those are usually the bottom level of dumbasses. And those type of Timmies, they're the ones that, rip their ear off and, they eat it. They mail their eyeball to their left nut. Those are the dumbass people who spend the least amount of money and their time is just trying to shake up the internet. So, zooming back, most of these new card games will fail. Some of them I've seen on Kickstarter. I've Googled it. You guys have been, you pitch me all these new card games all the time. Some of them look really good. But at the same time, it's not about the game. Most of new card games is management related. And no matter what they say historically, they don't follow through. That's usually how it is. So, conclusion, yes. If we have another wave of new card games coming to market, which is very likely because of how strong the market conditions are for CCGs, it will have downward pressure on all existing card games. Now, like I said, most new card games, when they release set 2, set 3 range, is usually when they screw up or misstep or overprint. Historically, that's when management does the same mistake that the last 20 failed companies before them do. And the wheel in the sky continues. That's really it. One final tidbit before we end this little short video. Again, if you want to put some questions below instead of memes and stepsister jokes and Rudy's hairy arm as a coupon code, I just want to say a couple of things here. It's very difficult to predict what's going to happen and everything. You have to understand that just like in Hollywood, CEOs of big banks and financial institutions, they make their hundreds of millions or billions of dollars not because they're hard workers, but because they have the ability to be very deep thinkers and see things that normal people don't. That is usually why they're in the captain's chair. So no matter what we talk about, just remember, everybody, even when it's the big boys like a Magic or Pokemon, or whether it's a One Piece or a Weiss or, a Flesh and Blood situation or a Yu-Gi-Oh! Or a Star Wars or Lorcana, all these card games, we never really know what's going to happen long term. Everything we do here and discuss on this channel We are all collectors and investors, and we love the card game. We love the cardboard world, and we're doing the best we can to try to navigate it. But remember, we take the information we have from the internet and the public, and we try to make sense of it all, okay? But even then, nobody can predict what a company is going to do. And management of any company has the ability to really make things boom or crash. Great examples are the Hasbro and Magic the Gathering stuff. You know, you look in the past, look what happened with Magic 30. Look what happened with the collector boxes in 2021. I mean, Magic overprinted everything, just started dumping all their own shit on Amazon, and then released Magic 30 and literally just destroyed their share price on Wall Street, destroyed their brand, everybody. I mean, you know, they literally beat themselves up. They went into a bathroom and they pounded on themselves. So again, that's a historical example of what can go wrong in these things. And Pokemon is not innocent. They've got the best track record, but they're not innocent. They've overprinted, they've misstepped, they've made bad sets in the past. You look at the XY, you know, all of you today are like, oh yeah, old. You know, let me tell you something. XY era, old eras of Pokemon from 10 years ago, they were not enjoyable. They were very difficult, dark days of excess product, clearance Pokemon. Nobody wanted it. You couldn't sell it. It was a very difficult thing. And it was met with a lot of bad management. They would just keep printing, and then it just built up everywhere, got fire sold. So just remember that, folks. You know, using the big boys as an example, the difference on all these conversations is not when something goes wrong. It's how a company reacts to the misstep. It's how the public reacts to the company's handling of the situation. This is really what it all comes down to. And I think that's a really underappreciated thing, because it's okay to be wrong in this world. It's okay to have missteps. It's okay to screw up. I don't know, sometime in social media, it became bad to be wrong or evil to get something. None of that's real. We're all human meat popsicles. And the point is, if something doesn't work, the difference between a Timmy and really a leader is, okay, if it doesn't work, do we just do it again? Do we raise the print runs? Do we just pump out more shit? Or if it's not working, maybe we should change something to make it better. What does the market want? What are they looking for? That's the difference. And that's the most important thing. Because there's always going to be something that's going to happen. It could be my YouTube channel, your local LGS. It could be your local Amazon LGS. It could be anything. There's going to be an employee, a store, a video I make, or something I say, or something that you do, or something a seller you bought online. There's always going to be something that makes you unhappy. But it's going to be how you react to it. Are you open to communication? Are you going to work with it? Are you going to say, hey, this product collapsed. What are we doing? We need to change something on the next release. That's really what life comes down to. It's not making money and being successful. It's when you see things that don't work, do you have the ability to correct it? And that's really where management and long-term brand building come in. And that's where really corporations and board of directors, that's when the big money comes in. You need to have people that have the ability to think beyond the box and handle times in high stress situations that we can't even comprehend in a little video like this. So other than that, folks, small Q&A. Put your comments below. Give me some questions. The top questions that a thumbs up the most, don't just type a comment below. Thumbs up the ones you would really like me to make a video on.